Hey everybody, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, and today I'm hanging out with
Eric's Steve.
Eric's Ryan.
And today we're jumping into Unearthed Arcana encounter building.
Jump down the description below where you can find Nerdarchy the newsletter. Learn how to game with us, as well as gain weekly RPG tips.
Alright, so this just recently hit, so it's time to talk about it. What do you guys think?
It actually does a lot of the things that I already kind of do. Because I kind of find...
So basically you could have wrote this. Thanks, Merles, but no thanks. Dave's got this.
Yeah, I got this, yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of find that what's in the DMG kind of breaks down a lot. And I don't think if you strictly go by that, you're going to create fun and interesting encounters. Is my opinion. So this basically adds a lot more math to it. But the best pieces of advice I found are actually look at the maximum hit points of your players, look at the maximum damage of the monster, and vice versa. And from there, you kind of know how things stand, right?
Right.
In the same regards, I know if I throw a bunch of little monsters out there that can be one-shotted or,
Area of effect to death.
Yeah, and, it's good to do that. Like, it's good to put them there so the mage can go fireball and clear out a big swath area where, like, you really didn't count them as part of the encounter anyway when you're budgeting your XP because you knew that they were just going to get wiped.
Exactly.
Now, it gets a little tricky if your players don't do what you think they should do.
Right.
And they're like, no, because I've had that happen as well. And then things get interesting.
Well, except for it also depends, too, on, like, the dynamics of the encounter. Like, if the thing erupts into the midst of the party, like, strategically, it might be the best to do the Garaby method, and hit points are a resource. But most players are like, well, why would I target my allies, especially if you're not an evoker with the excluding friendlies capability, right?
Yeah, but I've had bard characters with the sleep spell. I'm like, I'll just use sleep and wipe out most of these. And I'm like, oh my god, my players are going to all die.
That bard is literally not that type of bard. He is not the kind of bard that rewards, that hands out inspiration nor cast spells. So fold that bullshit because it doesn't happen.
He's a fighter that's just not as good as a fighter.
Yeah.
So all that being said, what is in this Unearthed Arcana?
All right, so you get the breakdown a little bit more mathified of, hey, you want to use a solo monster? Here's a chart. Whether you're using 6 players, 5 players, 4 players, here's what you do. Oh, you want to use multiple monsters?
And by what you do, what Ted means is what CR to use.
Yeah, my apologies. So it's like first level and 6 characters, you're using, a level 2 monster. If you're using a 20th level party and you're 4 characters, you want to cap off at 22. And that is all figured out for an optimal encounter, which by my read through, and you guys can correct me if you have a difference of opinion, but optimal means it's going to be a threat, but the party's going to soundly win.
So I'm basically reading this as a normal encounter that maybe costs them about 25% of their resources or so, more or less. I feel like that sounds about right for a normal or average encounter.
And they say if you're looking to go deadly, you want to bump those numbers up.
Well, yeah, 1 to 2. 1 to 2 CR, and if you want it to be easy, drop it by 3 or more.
Right. So then if you want to use multiple monsters, it has it broken down by level and how many monsters you want to use.
When you get to page 2, it's like a statistics class.
It essentially breaks everything down by ratio. So yeah, the link will be in the description to be able to find it because it's just a sheet of numbers. But it's just a ratio of proportions of, like 1 PC of this level is worth this many. So maybe it's worth 6 CR 1/8, maybe by 2nd or 3rd level or whatever. And that's not verbatim what it is, but it's saying that these are the equivalency of PC level number of monsters that they're worth.
What that page makes me think of when I look at it is like 1st and 2nd edition THACO and all the different tables that were in the DMG and the player's handbook. And I'm like, ah. Yeah. But yeah, so it is really mathified and broken down so that to give you a better idea. I mean, like I said, like the advice given in here, the most sound advice that I could see was look at the abilities of your players, look at their hit points, look at their max damage, and then do the same thing for the monster and go, how do these match up? Will a player get dropped in one hit?
Yeah. And a lot of times what I'm thinking about with encounters is what the armor class of players is most likely to be. Like, how often is the monster going to be hitting it? Is it 50% of the time? Is it 75% of the time based on an average roll of a 10? How likely is that to happen, and how much damage are they doing once they do actually hit?
I like to look at the lowest and highest denominators because they're going to be the real factors in the battle. Like if you're looking at the mage who's likely to get hit, well, what happens if that mage gets hit? Now, should he be where he's going to get hit? Probably not. But will they one shot him?
Yeah.
Or does the barbarian just rip through your monster as if they were made of wet paper?
Yeah.
So and I kind of then from there I kind of like do what you do, and find the common denominators. But firstly, I look at the high and the low and go, well, how does this look, and how does things look if things go south?
Yeah, because when I'm building an encounter, by and large, I want the fight to last 2 or 3 rounds, maybe 4, and I'm good. Like, I feel like everybody got to do some interesting stuff by that point in time. More than likely.
And the other thing to look at, as you're saying, you're comparing the numbers. Part of that factor is AC and your parties to hit bonuses. And literally, I've seen in one of my games where I put up a monster that really should be soundly defeated by the party, and they consistently roll like crap. So that monster that's a challenge 1 or a 2 and has an AC 20. The party's just not connecting round after round after round, and they're not using tactics to say, okay, well, let me give you advantage on your attack since you have the best chance, or you have the most attacks, or whatever have you, and it goes south.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If the party is consistently not hitting and the dice hate them, that party was meant to die. It's really what it comes down to. They were not meant to be heroes. They were meant to be the guys that become villagers. And like, I used to be an adventurer until I took an arrow in the knee. That party wasn't really meant to be adventuring. It's really what it comes down to. Another thing I did think about, though, is the idea of suboptimal tactics in the regards that in narrative fiction, there's usually like people are just squaring off against each other. You don't focus fire in books. Like, that doesn't really tend to happen. So maybe if your party wanted to play a game that was felt more like a piece of fantasy literature or a movie, that you kind of have some of those numbers, because if you're not focusing fire, then the party's not being nearly as effective as a party that does.
Right.
So that goes to another aspect of encounter design, knowing your players.
Yeah.
Like if your players always play suboptimally and you can kind of count on it.
Yeah.
Then you can build your counters accordingly.
I mean, which would be cool to like, as a player, not have to do, like, it's kind of a bullshit thing to, like, I'm fighting this guy, but I'm going to go attack this guy over here, because that makes no sense. So to bring back, like, realism of dealing with the immediate threat in front of you versus, like, oh, if I pop this guy, then he's just going to be dead and that's one less attack on the party.
Right.
Sure, as a game player, I know that's the case, but when you have somebody in front of your face attacking you, really, you're probably just going to fight them.
Well, at the end of the day, this is a narrative game, but it's still a game, so, those elements are in there.
Right.
I don't think it matters that much, although it can be cool to do it that way, and you can have these cool scenes where I think like that way of doing it is better for specific instances, like where you call out the rival barbarian chieftain or warlord. Maybe not so much for your everyday encounter, because it gets kind of weird and tedious.
I mean, but it becomes like everything becomes significantly more threatening. So again, I'd probably chop those numbers in half for what they say the proportions are, if that's the way if you wanted to play a game that felt more like Three Musketeers, where it's like maybe you're sword fighting the hobgoblins, and these like elaborate duel type of things, versus everybody just gang up on that guy over there and this guy and this guy.
But at the same time, to do that and make it actually meaningful, that means you're gonna have to role play every aspect of the combat almost, and it will really drag things out, and I think it would detract overall. I think key moments would be best.
But if you're going to go that route, you trim down the number of players. You cap out at 3, and you don't accomplish as much in a single session, or you just play really long.
Yeah. There you go. Just more RPG playing is really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
But on the last page of the encounter builder, you get a couple different things that you can do, as they say, to spice up your encounters. You can give the monster personality. You can have inter-party relationships.
Wait a minute, we can
monsters.
give monsters personalities?
It says it right here, monster personality.
Oh, there's a section about giving them backstory too, which Gareth will
About
be
15 pages.
Yeah,
backstory.
15 pages. The goblin.
Yeah, as a
15.
DM, you got to write 15 pages worth of backstory for what your
For each
bugbear.
goblin.
Yeah.
Then you've got terrain and traps, and then random events. So like all these different things can spice up your.
Well, so the monster personalities and relationships, which it even goes like this could be group mentality or individuals, but I found the relationships pretty funny.
Yeah, that last page is actually, I think, kind of the best part of this supplement.
I like the first one of rival wants one random ally to suffer.
Yeah. From the relationships, or the last one, bully allies want to see it defeated. Mercenary cares only for self. Outcast, others ignore it. Yeah. So in this case, we're the ones being ganged up with on. They're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Worshipped, others will die for it. Abused hangs back, betrays the first chance. So yeah, these are gold. These are pretty good.
If you don't already have a motive in mind for your villains or your monsters, like this gives you something to ascribe to them, which is very nice.
Yes.
So.
And I think combining the personality traits with the relationship traits is kind of fun. And it even goes on to say how you could actually do, how you could describe that in the encounter as well to make things more interesting. And random events is the last thing.
Yes.
So basically, Ted had mentioned terrain and traps, and that's just making an interesting locale. And they give the great advice of, is this an interesting place for your players to be, even if there's no combat?
Right. So speaking of like events, like if there's an earthquake that happened to happen during the course of a fight, that would be pretty cool and interesting to have.
Yeah, they talk about places where it's common for deluge to happen, or tremors, or things like that. And the kind of like the fun thing is if you do these like random phenomenon, right? Like maybe they don't really have a whole lot of effect on things, or maybe it's just like acrobatics check, or you fall prone. It affects things, but not wholly, and it affects everybody. But the real thing is, are your players now going thinking what's going on? Is a purple worm going to erupt in the center here? What's happening?
Yeah. I better hold back my better spells.
Yes. Yeah. So it can definitely change the dynamics of the
Sometimes
encounter.
It's just an earthquake tremor, and sometimes it is a purple worm. So guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
You can check out the articles over on nerdarchy.com.
We're over on Facebook.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.